During a fighter's career, we are presented a particular image of them. When they decide to hang around the sport after retirement, the X-ray reveals a little bit more beneath the surface of who they really are as people and as men. In this editorial, we'll discuss that a little bit about Hopkins and De La Hoya. For these two champions, it's more than a fight. It's history. This is what the fight poster for the September 18th, 2004 match between Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins, who was the undisputed world middleweight champion at the time, was taking on the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, who was basically the face of boxing at that time. He was the most popular fighter. He was on the pound for pound list. Both of them had pretty much fought a venerable who's who of boxing during their careers, and now they were on a collision course. De La Hoya, who had campaigned at the lighter weights, ruled at welterweight, and had decided to move on up to middleweight to challenge Hopkins in a big-time fight that saw both men rake in the type of revenue that the elite at the top of the sport can garner. What also made this interesting was the contrast in styles, but Oscar's willingness to challenge himself, something that we've often talked about guys from a different era. And when you see these things happen, you can tell that it really means something to the fighter who is willing to step out on faith and challenge. Thus begins this video, Loon, Coon, and Buffoonery, Part 7. In a series of Loon, Coon, and Buffoonery videos, this one is being called Disgraceful Promotions. De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, who are now fight promoters under the Golden Boy promotional group, recently had a promotion where their young charge, Ryan King Rai Garcia, was taking on Javier Fortuna. In this bout, Garcia, who has had his share of issues outside of the ring, was looking to come back and reinsert himself in boxing, because at the age of 23, he still has a promising future ahead of him, but he has not made the way of being a better fighter by fighting better competition. This bout was originally scheduled for last year, but this past Saturday, July 16th, Garcia finally got in the ring with Fortuna. En route to a 6-round stoppage where Fortuna took the full count on a knee after going down to a left to the head. He had previously been down in the 4th and 5th rounds of this fight. The first 2 knockdowns were body shots by Garcia. It came out well for these guys, with Garcia being successful, but it's what led up to the fight that leads to this video being called Disgraceful Promotions. Both Oscar and Bernard took it upon themselves during fight week to promote Ryan as a fighter who, though there are champions out there for him to challenge, where he was campaigning at lightweight, 135 pounds. The belts are insignificant. The titles are insignificant. He's now looked to move up to 140 pounds, which is probably an easier weight for him to make. But the dismissing of world championship titles at 135 is what really makes the hairs on your neck stand up. Bernard Hopkins, who was undisputed, went on to tell the press this week that the belts are no good for anything but to hold your pants up. And who cares that Devin Haney is the undisputed champion? Who knows him, says Oscar De La Hoya. The boxing world knows him. Boxing legacy, that which you and Bernard Hopkins fought for, knows. So if Ryan wants to be in the loop and to be known, he needs to fight in legacy bouts against his contemporaries, as you men did at one time. But because you now have the promoter's hat on, it is important that you protect and guide your charge in a manner of which you cheat the public, but you're cheating the fighter as well. These young fighters of today do not understand that when it's all said and done, people won't remember who they are if they do not challenge themselves. The only reason Oscar and Bernard are revered and remembered today is because of what they did during their careers. If they fought their careers like they're promoting fights, they would have gone nowhere. Sewage is what they're offering up. Raw sewage. But in their boxing careers, they gave as good as they got. Sometimes coming out victorious, sometimes not. But the fact remained that they participated. They gave the best that they had to offer. And that's what the people appreciated. And we also thought by getting into the promotional aspect of boxing, you would look to provide the boxing public with the best that your promotional group can offer. Ryan is talented. He probably needs more talented training and coaching around him. But the way that you've gone about this recent promotion is disgraceful. And what you're asking of the public is disgraceful. We should not be asked to shell out bucks when you're crapping on the sport, the very sport that you participated in. You two men, one-time rivals, put it on the line for our pleasure, and you entertained. Why is that no more of consequence? You have to explain that to the people. And I don't think many of us will be around to listen to what you have to say. This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think about Golden Boy and the way that they're moving Ryan. They've lost a lot of great fighters from their promotional group due to these two men's mishandling of their promotional group and the disgraceful promotions that they've taken. Those are my thoughts at this time. I may be back with another editorial. But until the next time we meet, peace to everyone out there, and everyone, please remain safe.